Manchester United's young players good enough? I'm Emma Jones and I'm joined by Adam McKola and Statman Dave to debate this question. Now, this video is sponsored by The Athletic, the place for the best coverage of your club with a world-class team of writers, including David Ornstein, Sam Lee and Andy Mitten. Visit theathletic.co.uk/Squawka to start a 7-day free trial and receive 50% off your yearly subscription. So it works out at just £2.50 per month. Now, Adam, as you're a Manchester United fan, we'll start with you. Are Manchester United's young players good enough? What are we saying?
Talent alone, yes. But I think younger players rely on a number of things if they're going to be a success at a massive club like Manchester United. It's not just talent alone. It's hard work, it's dedication, it's a bit of luck along the way. It's even maybe a manager liking you, playing a system that suits you. I mean, you only have to look at Marcus Rashford. When Marcus Rashford was in the academy for Manchester United, he was very rarely looked at as Marcus Rashford's going to come through any minute now and he's going to score loads of goals. But he had a little bit of luck. Will Keane got injured, Anthony Martial got injured, and he gets his chance in the Europa League game against opposition that aren't that great, takes it and never looks back. So you need a little bit of luck, but I do think this bunch of players are very talented, but I've said that over the years so many times. You think of Giuseppe Rossi, Ebanks Blake, Fraser Campbell, David Petrucci. There's so many players I can name over the years that I thought they are the one. And none more talented than Raval Morrison, who for other reasons didn't succeed. So there's so many variables, but they are talented.
Well, on that, Oliver Kay has highlighted in his recent article on The Athletic that these young players need to be surrounded by strong characters. Is that a fair point, do you think, Adam?
Yes. Young talented players are always compared to Class of 92. Always compared to the Class of 92. But what the Class of 92 had was Peter Schmeichel, Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister, Eric Cantona, Roy Keane, Brian Robson. These kind of guys in the dressing room. They also had a manager that firmly had his feet under the table, was confident and comfortable in his position to be able to play them. So they do need those players around them. Of course, being able to get more opportunities and maybe not having such a thick squad means that they will get more opportunities, but I still think they need experience. And when you look at Angel Gomez coming off the bench at West Ham and he's got to do something, that's not when you want to be bringing him on. You want to be bringing him on when it's 2 or 3-0 up and you can see the game out. So I do think they need a bit more experience around them, but I do think they're talented.
Right, so we've got a list behind us of all the players that are 23 or under and are playing in the first team. So for you, Statman Dave, is Mason Greenwood the standout talent there, or are there other players that you think are maybe a bit more talented?
I think he's the one at the moment. I think we go through these phases of Angel Gomez being number one. As Adam mentioned before, all those previous players. It's that side that the hard work needs to combine. I completely agree. The character and everything needs to come together. I think Mason showed with his goal against Astana that the man has talent. You know, in a game that was it wasn't the greatest game in terms of, creating chances and so forth. This guy's got that moment in him to really unlock the door. But at the same time, the list of players under 23 or 23 and under is absolutely insane. Like Anthony Martial, Matt, we forget he's so young.
We do forget how young he is. And I think when we look at Martial, Rashford, because they've been in the first team for so long, we consider them to be up here and they should be delivering right now. Now, I do think they need to start delivering because you look at them and 4 or 5 years ahead of, the likes of Ghana, Greenwood and co. And the amount of time they've had in the first team, the number of seasons means we need to start seeing them gain that consistency. But they're still very young and you wouldn't expect their best years to be for another 2 or 3 years. So the fact that they're doing reasonably well and they've done so much so far means there's a whole lot more to come. But I do look at Mason Greenwood as one of the standouts. And Angel Gomez, Barcelona have been watching him, do you know what I mean? And Barcelona don't just watch any players. And I think with them keeping a close eye on him, it's important we get him sewn up very quickly.
I think the interesting side of Angel Gomez, not only is he talented, he can control the tempo, he's young, his stature, his feet are absolutely amazing. He's been directly involved in 0.7 goals per game in the academy and going through, which is good. And then you look at Marcus Rashford. I think we're kind of blown out with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and maybe Kylian Mbappe of attackers, that we kind of forget that this is actually the norm. That Marcus Rashford at 21 years old, what has he scored against? Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea. He's already at that point.
Players develop at different rates, and I think you will get some players like Wayne Rooney who you look at and you think he can play first team football at 16 years old and be the best player. But I agree with you. And you look at Marcus Rashford, already done a lot for England, already done a lot for United, hasn't really nailed down a spot. But you look
Is that
at
a problem?
I think that is a problem, but I think it's good as well that he has that in his locker, because you see a lot of clubs play with front threes or floating strikers. There's only ever really one striker in the system. You look at England, Harry Kane's going to be that man, so he has to get used to occupying the positions. Talking about Harry Kane, what was he doing at Rashford's age? He was at Millwall on loan. So you know what I mean? The stages where they were learning, they weren't learning in the cauldron of Old Trafford and in the pressure of Manchester United. So I think we've got to give him a little bit of leeway, a little bit. But we're relying on them. That's the position we're in. Our board have put extra pressure on them because we're relying on these players. We didn't sign a striker. If they've got Lukaku still next to them or someone like that, then there's a little bit more pressure off them. But unfortunately, it's time to grow up and put on your big boy pants. ASAP.
Savage. So, Statman Dave, is there anyone on there who you think might benefit from going out on loan?
I think loan moves are very important for development. I think that's another thing that you're going out to play first team football. We see around Europe where they have B teams that play in the second division and so forth. But we're not like that. You're looking at Axel Tuanzebe, really good loan spell at Villa last season. Dean Henderson, another player that's done well at Sheffield United, both in the Champ and now in the Premier League. He's pulling out saves. He's really impressive in between the sticks. Yeah, there's some stuff that he needs to work on, but that's what a loan's for. You're looking at maybe the likes of maybe Chong, Gomez, Garner, Greenwood could be beneficial of those loan moves, and taking what Dean Henderson has done has become a real big figure in quite a strong squad in a way. I think that's a side of what Manchester United maybe need to do in their development plan. Of course, this season there is the Europa League, there is the League Cup, so maybe players can't do the Dean Henderson and go to a Championship club, then go to a Premier League club, and then develop as footballers. So it's maybe a slightly different model in a way, but they need first team football. I think that's the main thing there. We've seen what Dean Henderson's done. Richard Sutcliffe has done a really good article on The Athletic, going into how he's improved and how he's moved forward. And I think that's an interesting side of what Manchester United are doing with their youth players.
I don't think Mason needs to go on loan though.
No.
I think it's, like we say, players develop at different times, and I think Mason's he's a generational talent, and there's something about him where he doesn't need to go on.
He's kind of ready, right?
Need to go on. And I think Ollie's just I think he's been holding him back a little. He sounds weird as a 17-year-old boy, but I feel against Astana, he should have started up top, through the middle. And I feel like Ollie is holding him back a little bit, and maybe as the games come, we'll get to see more of him. But I think he doesn't need to go on loan.
It's quite an interesting one with, we chatted before about the likes of Jadon Sancho, that had that protection of being in the Bundesliga, away from the English press. Arguably, that's better for some English young players. And
not just the press, like, if Jadon Sancho has a stinker or makes a poor pass or misses a penalty, we don't see loops of it and tweets of it and everything, like, constantly. And I think coming out of that bubble, being able to make mistakes and grow up, and the only things we see of him is when he's doing really well, which is most weeks, but I think just coming out of that bubble is good for people as well, because the English press and the English fan bases can destroy people.
Well, they're also in quite a privileged position having the opportunity to do that. So surely, as you said before, there's only so much patience that you can have, because there is a level of expectation that they should be performing. Yeah,
they have to. They have to perform. And it's why it's a weird period for United. We are a club that expect results. But I think this season we kind of have to not so much. I think there'll be some games where we do really well, and there'll be some where we have stinkers, and I think we've seen that already this season in such a short space of time. And I think that's something we've got to come to expect, where this season's probably one where players just finding their feet, unfortunately.
Adam and Statman Dave, it was great to get your points of view on that, and we'd like to know your opinion as well in the comments. Are Manchester United's young players good enough? Adam, can you tell people where they can find more of you?
YouTube.com/Adam McKola and FulltimeDevils as well. All stuff Man United.
Very straightforward. Thank you, Adam. And remember, Adam and Statman Dave are on this week's Premier League preview, released on Friday. So subscribe if you're new and put notifications on to be the very first to watch. Thank you again to The Athletic Athletic for sponsoring this video. Visit theathletic.co.uk/Squawka to start a 7-day free trial and receive 50% off your yearly subscription. So it works out at just £2.50 per month. If you do that, you'll hear more from their world-class team of writers like David Ornstein and Sam Lee, who we've had on the channel previously. We'll see you next time on Squawka.